To be an Army Infantry officer without a Ranger tab is much more than just a career failure. And that was my reality about 15 years ago. So I wanted to retell this story. Ranger school means absolutely everything for the culture of the United States Army Infantry officers. And trust me when I tell you that they make that abundantly known. And it's not just that they make sure that you know that it's important to get it. They literally treat you like you're not even a human. And I literally went through this process for over 4 years. So that video that I showed initially with me running through the rainforest away from the camera, that's because when I finished my time as an infantry officer and decided that I'm gonna get out, all I wanted to do was run away. Breaking this video up into 3 main segments. The first one is primarily talking about the culture of the United States Army Infantry and how you actually get treated on a personal and professional level without the tab. I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions in the comments, so the second segment is going to talk about what it really meant to me at the time, why I was so beat up about it, not just from getting beat up emotionally every day, but why it actually meant so much and how hard I actually trained and how many times I attempted it, how long I was there. And thirdly, I'm going to discuss where I am in my life 15 years later and why I am so much better off without a Ranger tab. For this segment, I wanted to dig kind of into the nitty-gritty of how you are really treated as an infantry officer without a tab. It's not just like you need this for your career, you need this to promote, you need this to get respect from your men. That is all part of it, for sure. It is the specific incidents that you end up running into where you, if it's anything like my story, this is my story, will be treated less than a human with severe disrespect by peers and supervisors. I did want to clarify that my opinions and my experiences are just that, my opinions and my experiences. If you happen to be a former Army Infantry officer and you were treated with great respect without a tab, or if you have a tab and you treated people with respect, I'm glad to hear that. That does not in any way relate to my personal story, and I will be sharing the experiences that I had and those ones only. I'll be mentioning specific names of individuals or exact locations or units here. What I will talk about are personal stories and let you know what happened to me without identifiable details. First officer that I had to meet when I came to my unit was the battalion executive officer. And boy, was he the most unprofessional person that I have ever met in my life, with only one exception, and I'll be talking about that individual after this. So he brings me into his office. He immediately starts reaming me out, basically at the top of his lungs, asking why I did not get a Ranger tab. And when I tried to professionally explain to him that I was a triple no-go in the mountain phase, I tried as best I could to articulate why I think I was a triple no-go on patrols, specifically in Dahlonega. He immediately interjected, did not even allow me to finish my statement, and he asserted his own version of what he said that he thinks happened, which he says that he thinks that I quit. He was extremely abrasive about it, very rude, and extremely sarcastic. He was overall an extremely 100% toxic American Army Infantry officer. Another incident with him happened when I tested positive for strep throat. I had a 103-degree fever, so I ended up going to sick call because of that. And the doctor there, who was a captain, a PA, explicitly said that I'm not allowed to go to work. And this battalion XO made it clear to me over the phone that I will be showing up to work. Messages and phone calls were coming while I was in the doctor's office with the PA. I tried to have discussions with the PA, letting him know I was a second lieutenant. He was a captain. That I'm being ordered into the office, and he explicitly said that that is an illegal action. I didn't really know what to do as a second lieutenant, so of course I went to the office to meet the XO who demanded me to go see him. I showed up as directed with a 103-degree fever and strep throat to his little cubicle next to the battalion commander's office, and I sat and waited because it was clear that he was not there. I showed up immediately. I ended up waiting for an extremely long time until it became very clear that he was not showing up because everyone else left for work. In the process, the battalion sergeant major asked me what I was doing, and I showed him my paperwork that said I was tested positive for strep. He looked at me and said, "He really made you come in here?" I said, "Yes, Sergeant Major." After that, all I recall was waiting for more time, and he never showed up. Kind of a close call, but this next Army officer that I will talk about is actually the #1 gold medalist for the most unprofessional and toxic person that I've ever met anywhere, not just in the Army. So, this captain, he started talking about me in front of his privates. He was a company commander. I found out about this because I had staff duty, and a private walked up to me and explicitly said, "Why does Captain," you can fill in the blank, "hate you so much?" I didn't really know what to do with it at that time, aside from the fact that it was very clear that he was completely being unprofessional against all codes of United States Army conduct to be basically talking shit about a lieutenant in front of his privates in his formation. There was a lot of other things with that captain, including he specifically built a culture around bullying, and he had his little Army officers that had tabs, which was a lot of them. I ended up figuring out a code word, and that was TB. And no, that does not stand for Tom Brady. It's not TB12. TB was tabless bitch. That's actually what it was. And I figured it out because I had heard enough of these other lieutenants say that, and then eventually I overheard someone say it without using TB. So I was able to figure it out. This captain was the lead orchestrator of that entire group of Army officers in our unit, and he had the most respect out of anyone. He was former Army Ranger Regiment, by all means the most accomplished officer in the unit, the most unprofessional man on earth, according to my own opinion. There are many other examples and stories and experiences that I had that resembled Army officers with a tab in the infantry bullying me and treated me with severe disrespect. But I'll leave you with those two initial examples. We're going to move on to the second segment, which is why this meant so much to me. And that's primarily because I really wanted it. I really, truly wanted to be an infantry officer and have a tab. Just like you're seeing me run right now with purpose, motivation, and dedication as I train as a 37-year-old trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon, which will require a sub-7 pace for 26.2 miles. I put the exact same determination, diligence, and focus into my preparation for Army Ranger School. This is not supposed to be a flex. This is reality. I showed up in better shape than anybody there. I regularly scored 350 to 360, sometimes over 370 points on the APFT. By all means, nobody was faster. Nobody, and I mean literally nobody, except for a couple of individuals that I met in my time in the Army, could ruck 12 miles as fast as me. I over-prepared, and I was absolutely putting everything that I had into it. So when I failed as a triple no-go at the mountain phase, yes, it was meaningful. And I'm going to add this too. I know people will tear me apart about this. That's fine. I was a distinguished military graduate, which means I graduated as a top 10 cadet in the nation. I was also the captain of our Ranger Challenge team. You can laugh, that's fine. I put everything I had into preparing myself for that school. So that right there is the initial reason for why this was such a big deal. When other college students were partying and drinking alcohol all weekend, I was waking up early in the morning. I was going on 12-mile ruck marches. I was running through the winter. I was doing everything I could to prepare myself. So when they sent me home, it was absolutely devastating. And this is going to answer another question that's probably already been asked by people that didn't finish watching up until this point. Yes, I tried to go back. I qualified through my unit's program at Fort Hood, Texas at the time to go back to Ranger School. I was called back in 2013 because of the government shutdown, and I was literally on my way to the schoolhouse. That was even after the triple no-go. So there's the answer to that. Yes, I tried multiple times. After that point, I did not get a slot. Fort Hood is not Fort Bragg. There's not as many opportunities for slots. I did everything I could to obtain one. The only other option was wait until Captain's Career Course. And yes, I could have gotten another chance to go after Captain's Career Course. But after being treated like dirt, literally, for almost 5 years, of course I didn't want to do that. And neither would almost anyone else if they were treated the exact same way. So I decided to get out. I'm extremely happy with my decision. I have absolutely no respect for the Ranger tab, not even any. And I'm very happy to not have a Ranger tab. My life has gone way better. And that is what I'll discuss here in the third segment. I got out of the Army. Not only did I not have to show up to work every day and be harassed, bullied, and disrespected for not having a Ranger tab, I could also make my own choices, and I decided to focus my time and energy into becoming a content creator as well as a photographer. I traveled endlessly through national parks. I was able to capture the beauty of America through wildlife, landscapes, and adventure photography through huge road trips that were extremely fulfilling. I didn't need any Ranger tab to do it, and I'm definitely very proud of the photography that I've done. Additionally, I've chased hard goals, tough goals. I'm currently trying to qualify for Boston, as I've said. I've done a 50-mile run. I've decided to have many fulfilling jobs, including training people to live healthier lives as a fitness trainer. I've built a soccer program. I've coached kids through many problems and obstacles. And in general, I am way better off without the tab. And back to the physical pushing that I'm doing. You do not need a Ranger tab to do any of that. I also completed the Vermont Ultra Beast Spartan race. It was by far and away much harder than Ranger School, and that is an objective fact. If you're a Ranger tab and you've never done it, go ahead and tell me in the comments, but I'm not interested to hear it until you complete the Vermont Ultra Beast at the Killington Ski Resort in Vermont. From my own experience, it is absolutely unnecessary to have a Ranger tab, and for me and my own time on this earth, I plan to surround myself with good people that treat people with respect, whether or not they're in the Army and whether or not they have a Ranger tab. Character of a person and the effort that they put into their daily life and goals is way more important than achievements, medals, ribbons, and tabs. I will continue to pursue hard challenges, and I'm very happy with how things are going. Extremely happy that I don't have a Ranger tab. It means nothing to me now. I would never consider going back into the most toxic United States Army culture that exists. There might be other versions of it that are not as toxic as what I experienced, but my experiences are my own, and I have no place and no respect whatsoever for the Ranger tab, not even a little bit. If this story triggered you, it's probably because you're an Army officer with a tab. I'll catch you on the next video if you want to see it.